Testing 1, 2. Waiting on YouTube. And once we're live, we will go. All right, so we are live, guys. So Donnie Rouse here. The inspiration from this podcast really came from this past trip. I just got back from a trip in Italy. I was traveling around Venice, Florence, Naples, and Rome for 11 days, drinking a ton of coffee. But one of the things I love when I do these travels is I always come away with this greater awareness and knowledge of myself. And this is one of the experiences, and it was based on one of the podcasts I had listened to, a podcast by Mel Robbins. Kudos to you, Mel. And this is called Inkling, an Inkling. Hi, guys. My name is Donnie Rouse, and you are listening to the podcast, One Life, an Inkling. Sometimes we go through the experience of life, and we feel these magnetic pulls, this burst of emotion. But what exactly is that? Right? You may go somewhere and you may feel this immense passion around pasta, right? Seeing someone cook pasta. And you're like, man, I would love to do that. You feel the emotion. You don't do anything about it. And then the emotion subsides until your next experience. Now you're at a cooking class and all of a sudden you're reminded, oh my God, I remember when I saw pasta being made in Italy. I'd always wanted to do this. You feel this inspiration. Maybe you take you enroll in the class, but then you forget about it again. Until you go over your spouse's nonna's house, or nonna's house, and they're making pasta, and you are reminded again. Like the pasta is just a metaphor for all the things that literally make you feel alive and excited. I truly believe that those are the things that we are being called to do. Those are the things we are being called to pursue. The trouble is that so many people, they see these things and they never acknowledge them. They get this little burst of energy, this inspiration, this aspiration. And then they just continue down their lives, never really giving it the attention it deserves, never taking a moment to say, well, what is this? Is this something that I want to pursue further? So let's start to decode, or not really decode. Let's just start to pay attention to what's going on in our life. So look in your life. What are the things, and I'll give you an assignment later. This will help tremendously. What are the things in your day that really excite you? Or look at some of the experiences that you had where you just felt this sense of inspiration. Perhaps it's something that you speak with a friend. You're like, I really want to do that. You know what? Wouldn't it be cool if I did X? What is that X? I want you to write this down. And I was going to give you at the very end, but I'll give you it now too. Your assignment before we even get going is to, for the rest of the day, carry around a little journal or make a note in your phone. And in that note, I want you to literally just scribe everything that anytime you feel like this intense emotion, you feel inspired, you feel excited, write whatever it is that is causing that emotion in that note. Because if we don't do that, right, we tend to kind of cycle through the same things, the same passions. But I believe that like life is full of passions, right? And it's about discovering them. But if you're not writing them down, it's so easy to forget. So I was in Italy and I was showing my sister around. My sister had never been to Italy before, so she enrolled me and I was her kind of like her private tour guide. One of the things that we did was we hit a lot of coffee shops. She would sleep in a little bit later than I would. So first thing in the morning, I would get up. I would have be 3 espressos in before she even woke up. And as I was going around, I would wake up in the morning and feel like this burst of energy because I would put my coat on. It was a little bit chilly, but not too cold. I would start literally going in and out of all the small streets of Rome, Florence, Venice, Naples, we only did a half day, so I didn't really have the opportunity to do it there. But as I was doing this, I was just literally stopping in whatever place looked awesome. I would stop in, I would have an espresso, or if I ever saw a coffee roaster that I don't recognize or I never heard before, I would stop in and I would have an espresso. This is just one example. Like, so what does this say? What is this telling me? Well, one, that I'm in the right industry, right? Because if you know me, you know that I do coffee and I do personal development and storytelling like this podcast here with the intention of getting you to live your best life. But what does it tell me? It tells me that I get Yes, I love coffee. But what is it about like this experience? Like I love exploring different coffee shops, the roastery, the sensory experience, tasting the experience, realizing, all right, well, what can be done to make the espresso better and helping people understand espresso better. So there was all these things, and nothing that I didn't know before, right? I know when I get lit up around coffee and what does it. What doesn't do it is really when I'm in the mundane doing the production stuff. I like being around people. I like creating. I like creating the recipes for the roast profiles and all that good stuff. Fast forward, I was watching some YouTube videos. I was searching different regions of Italy just because likely this winter I'm going to be back out in the country doing more coffee stuff because every region of the country has their own coffee drinks. So I must explore them all. So as I was looking through these like the different videos, I was starting to I saw someone giving a review. I'm like, well, first of all, the video I was watching, I was kind of bored by it. I'm like, well, I can do it better. And what I was really saying was that I was a little envious of the person doing it because it looked like a kick-ass job. And I would love to go there and just talk about coffee, right? All the different coffee regions and to show people that even in Italy, they are fallible, right? Now, no one does espresso perfect. They just have a higher bar. But still, it could be a challenge to find a good espresso even in Italy. But one of the things that was coming from this, looking at this YouTube channel, was, man, there are so many different regional drinks in Italy that no one even knows or has ever covered. I'm like, oh my God, how awesome would it be to go out and make videos about those coffee drinks to show people like the different cafes, the different roasteries, the different ways of preparation. Man, that stuff lit me up. Realizing that, well, wow, why am I feel really excited and really passionate about this. What is this telling me? It's telling me that I should go out and make some videos in Italy. When I thought about, like when the thought occurred in my mind, I started to kind of get a little bit nervous because then I started thinking about like, oh, well, why can't I do that? I'm like, well, it doesn't seem like it would be fun. And really, I was just saying stories because really it scares me to make that step. Here's a little side note on manifesting. When you feel excited about that, right? What immediately comes after that? Do you really start supporting it with reasons as to why you can't do what it is that you want to do? Pay attention to that because what you're doing is you're manifesting. You see the shiny object they want, but you're giving yourself all the reasons as to why you won't do it or can't do it. And you'll notice by the reasons you're giving because they're very detailed. They're very colorful in the sense that they envelop your mind and your perception, your imagination. What if you did that for the thing you wanted? What if you said, well, wow, that is what I want? Instead of it's going to be boring or I don't know how to be video, what if you said, wow, I could really make this exciting, something that I would really enjoy doing. And I could get help with someone who's done this before. So this way I can, make a YouTube channel out of it and it'll be hugely successful, whatever it may be. It's just a different level of perception. It's a different way of looking at what it is. One is supporting the thing you want to do. One is breaking you down. So this way you don't want to do it, but you do want to do it, right? So let's look at your life. Like, where do you want to take an action? Where do you want to have an experience? Where do you want to change careers? How do you want to transform your body? Whatever it is. What is the thing that gets you excited? Next, what immediately follows that? Is it reasons as to why you can't or why it won't work? And what I want you to do, if you're not taking action on it, then there is that is exactly what you're doing. You're giving yourself a story. You're giving yourself the reasons as to why it won't. When the truth is that every option is available at any moment. You can choose to make it work or you can choose to make it not work. The choice is entirely up to you. When you've written those things down, what if you flipped them around? Like you might, I don't know how many people actually do these questions, but I know if you did, you would see a change in your perception. But let's take a mental question. What are some of those reasons that you say you can't do something, whatever it is? Say it's the solo trip to Europe. Why can't you do it? But every time you think about doing it, it lights you up, but then you kind of like bring yourself back down to earth. Just think of like one or two of those reasons you give yourself. Next, I want you to flip them around. So flip them on their back to say, all right, what's the opposite of this? What if the opposite were true? And literally, when you think about it, speak it aloud and just notice the change in the feeling. Does it make you want to take action? Does it make you want to take a step back? Obviously, it's going to make you want to take some action and move forward with whatever it is that you're stating. This is true of life. So then the only next step for you to do is to take the action, is to heed the call. Go after what it is that you want. Then I promise all of the road will literally be built and unfold right before you. The only thing you have to do is take that first step. So that is all I've got for you guys today. That was one of my biggest epiphanies, and it's something that I know, and yet I always like to be reminded of it, because anything that I've done, any experience that I've had, I have a very short, I'd say, like, I could be very impulsive, and I say that in a good way, because when I take an action, once I take in the action, right, I get to evaluate, okay, well, do I want to continue this? Do I want to stop it altogether? And then you can make the choice. But if you're sitting on the fence, you can't move from the fence, right? It kind of hurts because the fences have these little spikes. And if you sit on it for too long, you might impale yourself. So take the action. There's always a way to come back. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, guys. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment. If you have a question you'd like to ask, or if you want to subscribe, visit my website at www.donnyrouse.com. Again, www.donnyraus.com. To give you a heads up, I'm going to be doing a course in the new year in January. It's going to be around creating the experiences for the upcoming year. And the beautiful thing about this is that this is going to be your time to say, well, all right, what is it that I want to experience this year? What is going to make my life feel passionate? What's going to make me excited about the upcoming year? We're going to plan those, and we are going to put them in the calendar so that they are real. And this is going to be coming up in January. So stay tuned. The details would be posted on the website probably within the next week. And again, the website is www.donnyrouse.com, DONNYRAUS.com. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this podcast, and I hope you realize that those inspirations, those inklings you feel to go in a certain direction, it's not just by chance. That is your destiny. That is the fact that you want to do it means you should. Go do it. Live a life that you are proud of. Live a life that is uniquely and passionately yours. God bless, and I will see you again soon. And remember, you only get one life. Live it. Thank you so much, and I will see you again soon.